Hello and welcome to another episode of the Pontiac Podcast, powered by the GTO Association of America. I'm your host, Kurt Rame. As always, I've got my sidekick and GTOAA News Blast Coordinator, who's probably driving himself crazy. It's Mr. Eric Frazee. How you holding up over there?
Doing good, Kurt. Just getting ready for this convention coming up. And that leads us to our, special guest we have this week, John Johnson, who is the president of the GTOAA.
We have
Good evening, guys.
In the pod. All right, John, thank you for taking some time to get with us today. We'll try not to keep you too long. But we have lots of questions. We see you around the conventions, and when we talk, it's about cars. But we kind of want to get to know your backstory a little bit. So, if you don't mind.
I grew up driving, came of driving age in the 70s. And like a lot of young men back there, the muscle car peak at the time had just kind of passed, but that also kind of meant that some of the hot cars were now just used cars. And of course, I wanted something fast, and quite honestly, there was a Chevelle Supersport sitting by the local Texaco station for several months that needed some repairs, and I was really kind of eyeballing that. Well, my dad, who also happened to sell insurance on the side, said, "Son, I can't insure you in that." And so we kept looking. There were several GTOs that came up for sale. Same answer. Even the insurance agent's son, we just couldn't afford doing that. And a little later that fall, a 1972 Grand Prix came up for sale from one of my dad's favorite mechanics. He looked at the rate book from the insurance company, and you could buy that car. Well, if you know anything difference between a Grand Prix and a GTO of that year, there's about 6 inches extra frame in it. And it essentially was a rich man's GTO, or at least that was the illusion it gave. So I wound up starting first car ever. Dad and I split the cost on a 1972 Grand Prix. And I drove that for several years. Ultimately, my wife Diana and I dated in that car. That was our first car when we were married, and we drove that car for a number of years until we started a family, and those cars are hard to get a car seat in the back. So we kind of parked it and went into more family sedans and then vans and now pickups, and you know how that goes.
Oh, yeah. So that 72, you said, Grand Prix?
Correct.
Do you happen to know where that car is, if it's still around?
Yeah, it's in my backyard.
Oh, you still have it?
Oh, yeah. Yes, couldn't let it go. As soon as I win the Powerball or the Mega Million, it'll get restored. But yes, we still have it.
Oh, that's so cool. So was that the car that got you in to like the Pontiac hobby, the classic car hobby, or was there something else that catapulted you into the hobby?
Dad also had been driving. I had a really nice, wonderful childhood, in my opinion. One of the family cars back in the day was a 57 Chevy. And then Dad also had a 64 Catalina two-door hardtop. And in its own way, it was kind of a sporty car. And I always enjoyed driving that Catalina. And then the chance to get the Grand Prix. Well, I was kind of hooked. And once you kind of realized the Grand Prix is just a stretched GTO, well, now you have to have a GTO. I'm married, so the insurance rates have gone down. And finally, in about 1980, I was able to buy a 1970 Judge hardtop that was sitting along the side of the road in northern Missouri next to a 1970 Oldsmobile Rally 350. The guy didn't care which one he sold. He just wanted one of them gone, and then all the money was going to go back into the other car. Well, obviously I got the Judge. And that's kind of the spark that lit the fuse, and here we are all those years later, and we have a nice handful of cars.
Do you mind sharing some of those cars? I think I've seen one or two at convention in the past, but
I'll tell you real quick. I've had 270 Judges over the years, 65 Tri-Power 4-speed GTO convertible, 3 1967 GTOs. One of them was a 400 HO hardtop, Let's see. Then my wife Diana had a 69 GTO Judge. Then the two that we still have, and we bought these, years ago. 1969 GTO Judge Ram Air 4. It was one of the original cars that was drag raced by the dealership in 1969, Kelly Pontiac, Columbia, Missouri. And then we bought a 1970 Plain Jane GTO convertible out of a cornfield, not that far from here. We have those two cars yet. Diana had her Judge and sold it when she had the chance to get a 1974 Super Duty Trans Am, all numbers matching. And then, surprisingly, last July, we were able to buy a 1972 GTO hardtop. And that car was something I had known of since the 1980s, and then it vanished for like 30 years. And when it resurfaced a couple of years ago, I just couldn't believe it. It was just amazing. And the car had been very much upgraded, restored, repainted in those preceding years. And it was just a joy to see it. And then the chance to actually get to buy it, ultimately, that was great. We call it Bluey. It's a Lucerne Blue, so it's named Bluey. And if
Bluey,
you all have any kids or know little kids, there's
Bluey.
a really wonderful cartoon out now called Bluey, and that's what it got kind of the name robbed from. But it is Lucerne Blue. That car
awesome.
will be going with us to Loveland. It was sold originally out of the Denver area. I'm hoping that when we get there, we might find somebody from perhaps either the Loveland chapter or the Denver chapter there that might remember the car from back in the day.
Yeah, that's such a good feeling, like chasing cars. Like I remember growing up, you said your dad kind of got you into an Eric, and I kind of have that same bond too. We love Pontiacs because it's what we grew up doing. Mm-hmm. And I remember hunting cars, and there's a car that my dad and I were hunting when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. It sits 5 minutes from my house. It's a 66 GTO. It sits on a trailer with a tarp over it. And the only thing that changes is that every few years it gets a new tarp because the other one gets ripped up. It's still there. We've knocked on this door hundreds of times. It's not for sale, not for sale. So I can imagine your relief and joy when it came back up and you were able to buy it, because I keep hoping I'll be able to get that one day just because of the stories and the bonds.
The very short version of it is the owner that I last knew blew the motor up, and that was his daily driver. He had to have something that he could drive. Well, he knew that the junkyard owner down by him had the hots for that car. So he went to him, told him what happened. The guy gave him a very good price for a dead GTO. And he went on, and I didn't see him for another 30-odd years until the day the car showed back up on an auction. But the junkyard man really did love it. He took it inside his own shop, and that's why I never found it in all those years I was hitting the junkyards around here. It was inside.
That's so cool. Well, congratulations on the score.
Thank you. It was my midlife crisis.
As Eric mentioned when we first introduced you, you are the current president of the GTO Association of America. And
Yes.
I was wondering if you'd share just a little bit about your roles and responsibilities as president.
Ultimately, you're the figurehead of the club. You're the leader in the way of staffing, expected to get through the planning, whether it be membership promotions, advertising, revenue, budgets, financial, things like that. We have a very good group of volunteers that work underneath us that help get things going, like Eric for the E-News Blast, other promotional work. He works with Steve Hedrick. Again, just a very fine group of people. The vast majority of them are volunteers that help keep the GTOAA going.
It takes a village, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So this isn't on the script, but question for you, John. If you could have any GTO, what would it be?
I may have it already. I mean, a 69 Ram Air 4 Judge is just hard to beat. And again, I've had it since the 80s. We've had that since before we had kids. it's a great car. It's almost odd in a way. There are times you get a little bit hesitant driving it, a little gun shy. What's that idiot going to do at the stoplight? Is he going to come through? It'd be hard to replace that car. Bluey, on the other hand, absolutely has no pedigree. Wrong motor, wrong transmission, completely redone. A good local paint job. I mean, it does look nice, but you're not going to be competing against really well done cars, and there's no pressure. It's fun to drive. So that's kind of funny. I probably got it. If I could have had a Judge convertible, okay, maybe that would have been one better, but whatever. I've got really wonderful cars to drive around in.
What are your thoughts on the current state of the GTOAA, and what do you see its future direction going, whether you're president or, you hand the torch off to another person? What are your thoughts on the direction?
Like all car clubs, and especially car clubs that are on a platform or platforms that no longer are manufactured, like Oldsmobile is gone, we're gone, Pontiac. If you were in a Corvette club, that's a little different because, of course, they'll start cranking them out if you can pay the money. Membership is the big problem. Keeping people on the roster. The people that have bought the GTOs back in the day, a lot of them sold them. Some of them got passed down into a family. Sometimes the family doesn't have that deep commitment or fondness for the car, and they get sold off. If you don't have a deep commitment to it, you may not join a club that's going to kind of help keep you in tune with other dedicated followers. We have about 3,400 members currently. We had been higher. We're working on stabilizing membership right now. We're trying to figure out how to attract younger members, and perhaps these podcasts will help. We still go to places, and someone local will come into the convention and go, "Oh, I didn't even know there was a club for GTOs." And we just shake our head. How can you not know? In this age of internet, it's so easy to Google GTO Car Club. But anyway, that's one of our big problems, trying to keep the membership base up. It costs money to run the club, primarily magazine printing and mailing. That's a huge expense when you look at everything else. I know a couple of other clubs have been looking at digital copies of the magazine. In a few cases, members do accept them. I'm afraid there are more members that really prefer to get a hard copy magazine instead of virtual. The virtual would save the club so much money in printing costs, mailing costs. It's a fine line to balance, and of course we still print 12 issues of the Legend every year.
Yeah, and I'm kind of an old soul. I'd rather read a book, have it in my hands, than on a Kindle. And I think the same could be said about the magazine as far as my preference with going anywhere.
I was going to grab one and hold it up against the screen, but I don't have it.
So that kind of brings me to my next question then. You kind of covered it a little bit, but what are the challenges the GTOA is currently experiencing, and maybe some plans in place to address them in the future? I know you mentioned, you guys are talking about the magazine, but are there other plans?
Oh, there's always plans. Trying to keep the members engaged, happy. The magazine has a varied content. The e-news blast has a varied content. It doesn't replace the Legend, but it's certainly a good supplement. The convention is moved from, really state to state every year. We try to get around so that members, if you will, out west could possibly come. A lot of times we're more Midwest or Mid-East. I was really surprised one year when I heard a national Pontiac magazine reporter note that he was out in the Midwest when he was actually in Columbus, Ohio. That one surprised me, but I guess since he was from New York, that was Midwest. We try to get the convention moved around so people can actually get there once in a while. and see the cars, talk to the people, make new friends. Getting out to the West Coast or the East Coast is very pricey. $60,000-$80,000 for a convention hall so you can put the cars inside. We can't do it. We just don't have the bucks to do that. And since they're in popular places, they're not going to give you any kind of a break. Everybody wants to go to sunny California, so they don't really give you a good chance to negotiate with them. You're going to bring them 800, 1,000 room nights, and well, that's still the rate. I'm sorry. That's a tough one.
A smaller market, the shot of tourism money really helps that smaller market, so they're able to work with you a little bit more.
That's what we hope. But again, when you're in California, people come there anyway.
Yeah.
Why is this convention important to members and the attendees?
I think it goes back a little bit to what I just mentioned. We try to move the show around from year to year. This is as far west as we've been in a long time. We were out in Loveland, I think it was 2012 previously.
It was 2012.
And we're returning there. We'd been out to Portland and the Seattle area in about 14 or 16, something like that. And, we'd like to return out there, or if we could ever find a venue in California, we'd love to come there. But right now, this is as far west as we have planned. So I know it's a drive from the West Coast. I know it's a drive from Seattle or Oregon, but really like to encourage people to try and come on down to Loveland, Colorado. We've got a lot of things planned. You've got regular tourist attractions, if you will. You don't even need to sign up for a tour, which are basically all full as it is. You can go to Estes Park on your own if you want. You can go to the Stanley Hotel if you want. There's a lot of things you can do on your own. Denver's only an hour away. There's just lots of things you can do that aren't necessarily tied to the convention. And of course, we have a lot of things going there. For those of you that might remember the 1970 GTO in the commercial that's affectionately known as the Humbler, that car is scheduled to be in Loveland, and they're going to try and do a recreation of the filming of that commercial. They've got a drive-in rented. So that's going to be really an interesting thing to be at.
I was telling Eric on an earlier podcast that the 2012 convention out in Loveland is probably my favorite convention that I've ever been to. Like, the scenery is beautiful.
Okay.
The venue is awesome. The hotel's great. I love that it's at the embassy and they get the kickback each night to kind of sit and bench race with the other people. And that was the first show I took my car to, and I still got my trophy.
Oh,
here.
wow. That's nice. Good for you.
So I'd finished my car like 2 months before, and I'm going. I'm loading the trailer, and we're going out there because, so Eric, I've been going to these shows since I can remember. Like, there's pictures of me as a baby going through these. And my dad never took a car. We always went just as spectators. We got our badges. We stayed the week, but he never showed a car. And so my goal was, I'm going to get it. I'm going to show a car, and I'm going to rub the trophy in his face. Well, so I did.
Wonderful story.
So you mentioned a little bit about the Humbler coming and maybe trying to recreate that. People who have never been to one of these national conventions that put on by the GTOAA, what can they expect for the 5 days that the convention's going on?
As the convention kicks off, really you've got people coming in, trailers coming in, cars being kicked out, put on the lot, people getting registered. When we finally get into it, we have tours scheduled at a few different venues in the area. Again, Estes Park is one, Stanley Hotel. There's other things going on. We have a drive-in scheduled. You can, again, sign up for those or go out and do some things on your own there. The main draw, of course, is the cars. Cars that are coming in. This year, again, being so far west, we should have a good variety of cars that haven't been to a Nationals in the last 10, 12 years. Not everybody will come across half the country just to bring their car to the car show. Well, now we've gone halfway across the country out west, and so it's a whole lot easier for some of them. Concours Car Show, points judged, I guess actually the way they're calling it now, is a big draw for it. That's on a Thursday. We have tech seminars scheduled, different people. Gentleman wrote a book called Goat in the Garage. He'll be there to talk about the goat, do a book signing. Another gentleman that is a YouTuber will be out there talking about his platform and things that he does. For those of you old enough to remember the Triple X GTO movies, the Triple X car will be there. We have, I think, 4 or 5 original owners who will be showing up this year at the show, and they bought it new and they never sold it. And some of the stories that they can tell are just fantastic. So that's something you don't get to see very often. And the car, in some cases, will be there with them, not all of them. As we get on to Friday is Popular Vote Car Show Day. Again, a very wonderful show. You'll have modifieds there, some more stock cars, everything to kind of just one end of the spectrum to the other. You can really find something you like. Sometimes the stories from the people are just amazing. Let's see, Saturday, then we finally, Friday night, the parking lot party. That's always a good turnout. Then Saturday, go on, we have a meeting where the officers from the club meet with the chapter people and I guess talk about things GTO related. Sometimes it's a little boring, like where do we get better rates on insurance or things like that. But anything we can do to help our chapters out is always good to talk about. And again, if you've got 7 or 10 different chapter presidents at that meeting, maybe one of them's already answered the question that you're asking, and you find out from one of your peers. It's always better to find out live and in person when you can question them. And again, it's a good meeting. That afternoon, we have a few other things going on, some more tech talks. We have a panel of 68 through 72 GTO, I'll call them experts, and they're just going to throw it open and talk to people about, in a lot of cases, it's, well, I'm restoring my car and this happened. Or one of my favorite questions to kick that session off is, what's the biggest common mistake you see when somebody restores their car? Then that evening is the big formal awards banquet and then awards ceremony, which follows immediately after we start going down through the chapter awards. Then Popular Vote Car Show, the model cars, and then the one that a lot of people consider to be kind of the icing on the cake, the Concours or Points Judge Car Show Awards. And that's it. We close it up on Saturday night, and some people go home then, and other people go on out Sunday morning.
It really is jam-packed full of chrome and good people. Like it's a fantastic time if you haven't been. Now, leading into this next question I've got for you, John, you kind of touched on it. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that our answers are probably pretty similar here. But for me, going to a convention, I love seeing the cars. But my favorite part, what I look forward to the most at every convention, is just getting to meet back up face to face with those Pontiac friends that I haven't seen in 12 months, or in some cases 24 months or 36 months, depending on just the way vacations fall. And getting to catch back up and hear those stories and learn about cars, their cars in particular, that's my favorite part. What do you most look forward to about this upcoming convention?
You're right, and it is a great thing to see the cars and also really to talk to the people. For me this year, something that I'm going to try and focus what little free time I have available. I had never thought I would own a 72 GTO, much less the one we were able to buy. I really don't have nearly as good of a background technically on those cars as to what was correct, what wasn't correct, how they were built, did it vary from an assembly plant. I'm really good on 69s and I'm okay on 70s. That's my bread and butter. But 72, I never thought I would own one. and they are a lot like the, well, generic 68 through 72 body frame. But I was just this last weekend at another show in Kansas City, and there were 5 72 GTOs there, which is just an amazing number considering those low years of production. Oh, I was just like a kid in a candy store running from one to another. One was an original paint 1971 455 HO. I mean, just amazing to see that. Differences in things like the door panel and the armrest on it, the mirror bezel if it's a remote mirror, just little things we were looking at. Whether there's a radiator filler panel up in front of the well, behind the radiator and up on top off of the core support. My car doesn't have it. Two of the ones out there did. One of them was a repop, that makes 3, but we couldn't still to tell whether they were original or not on the others. Why didn't the others have them? We don't know. Assembly plant, maybe, maybe not. So for me, it's going to be trying to get in a whole lot more learning on the 72s. 71 and 72 are very similar, but especially for me now, 72. So
Right.
that's going to be my big. If I've got some free time, I'm going to go over and really try and bend the ear on some of these people, especially those if anybody's had it for a long time and the car is still pretty much as built.
Yeah. You mentioned production numbers a little bit, and sometimes I see some stuff on the internet that I think is kind of contradicts it. But is 72, was that the lowest production number GTO?
It may have been. I know it's probably one or the other. They are low.
Yeah,
I was remember like 52 or 5400 something.
Yeah, just sitting back thinking like you'd think 73 or 74 when they kind of switched body styles.
I think 74 actually
platforms.
rebounded some.
It did, and when you look into the numbers, it did
Yeah.
rebound, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking 72 might have been, but we'll have to fact check that. We'll get our fact checker on it.
Yeah, there he is.
We have a DVD somewhere. Actually, I have it. That has all the production numbers on there.
Okay.
Well, that's your homework, Eric.
You can
Yep.
actually, if you want to watch the DVD, we will have it be playing at the convention. Stop by and you can check it out and see the facts for yourself.
Okay.
So that leads to one of my next questions, John. If people are still, trying to decide if they want to go to Loveland, do you have something you can tell them, kind of make them decide, hey, I think I need to go to this, opposed to, I'll wait till next year?
Location means a lot, and we all understand that. If you live in Long Island, I don't think there's anything I can tell you now to make you change your mind if you haven't decided to come already. But if you're in California, if you're in Nebraska, if you're in Texas, this is as close as we're going to be for a bit. Loveland, Colorado. No, it's not next door maybe, but it's a great group of people. We're very open and welcoming to you all. Modified cars, that's fine. Stock original cars, that's fine. Come on out. Don't miss it. I think some of the things I've learned in my years are some of the regrets we've had, or I have, are things that I didn't do. I never went and saw the Rolling Stones. And looking back at it now, I had the chance. I didn't go. I wished I had gone back when they were all together. Now there's some of them left, but not the old group that I think we'd consider the Rolling Stones. So don't miss out. Make it happen. Come on by.
And then how can members become more involved and help support the GTOAA's goals?
Well, kind of like you guys know, volunteer. There's things that you can do that can help the club, and in fact we're doing that right now. Other people have other talents. If somebody happened to be good at bookkeeping, like a CPA, and they're a car club person, they kind of understand how car clubs function, it'd be nice to have a backup for our treasurer. Somebody that has the interest in helping but doesn't necessarily have a skill of that caliber. If you have a chapter in your area, a GTOAA chapter, go talk to the president and say, hey, I'd like to help out. Is there anything I can do? Well, maybe you can show up 20 minutes early for the meeting and make sure the room is set up. Or maybe you can stay 20 minutes after the meeting's over and help get the room set back into place. That's a great first step. It'll show that, you're willing to do a little bit to help out the group, and that really means a lot, especially to the people that are trying to keep the club functioning, the officers generally. The GTO is the same way. If you have a few hours available and you could guard one parking lot entrance to keep the Fiats and the Volkswagens out, we could use some volunteers to help do that at the show. And that's a great first start. If you have the ability to carry a bucket of water bottles out to the people that are already outside working at the tech tent, even that little courtesy is a wonderful thing. And it all adds up, and it all helps make a great event.
Being a club that is primarily run on volunteers, anything you can do is going to be helpful. So, John, we appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to jump on and talk GTOAA with us. And hopefully we didn't grow you too hard.
No, I think I survived.
Eric, you want to give them those dates again for Loveland, Colorado for the 2026 convention?
It is July 7th through the 11th.
You can still sign up. Where do we go to sign up for that, Eric?
GTOAA.org. You're going to click on convention and then click register. It's that simple.
Yep, and for those that don't want to do it online, there's the ability to get a paper mail-in sheet, and you can send your check.
Or you can do it at the show.
Oh, that's true. Walk in. Just come on. Yeah.
John, what if somebody out there listening has been called to action and they're wanting to help volunteer? How would they get a hold of you to be able to let you know that they're wanting to volunteer, maybe up their role a little bit?
President@gtoa.org is my email. If you can get onto the club website, they list the contact information. You can get a hold of myself. You can get a hold of Bob, who's one of the convention gurus. You can get a hold of Eric. He volunteered a couple, has it been 2 years? Not quite yet. For the
It'll be 2 years this year.
Yeah, it's coming right up. Wow, time flies. And Eric will tell you how to get a hold of me.
Yep. So fun fact, I actually started out holding signs for the photographer. And I was like, this could be something that a little kid could do. So 2 years ago, I went to the current president, Vic, or not current, he was the current president then.
He was the outgoing, yeah.
Yep, I said, Vic, what do I do to get more involved? He's like, well, talk to JJ. So I went to John and said, John, I need to get more involved, and here I am.
Yes.
Public Relations Associate, e-News Blast Coordinator, and I love it.
It's like when you tell that story, I feel like I'm looking at Moana, looking out at the ocean, saying how far I'll go. Congratulations, Eric.
Yeah.
Right. Now to get Kurt involved more.
That's right. But he's made his first step, so off we go.
One foot in front of the other. So, well, we won't take up any more of your time. We appreciate you being on here today. As always, guys, if you're not a member, GTOAA.org. Not only can you sign up for the convention there, you can register to become a member, and you'll get that Legend magazine, the multi-quill winning, award-winning magazine, full color. And my favorite part at the back is what, Eric?
The classifieds.
The classifieds. Better than Marketplace. Write it down.
Yeah, that's one thing I forgot to mention about the convention. There's a swap meet. If you need parts, you might be able to find it there. If you've got some stuff that's in the way and you need a little cash in your pocket, sell them. Come on. Let's get it out there.
If the swap meet doesn't have it, somebody knows somebody who does have it.
There's a good chance.
That's right. Any 1972 GTO parts, you better snatch it before John gets there. So
yeah, I need a pair of grills, guys. Keep your eye out.
All right. Well, thanks again. We'll see you next time. Until then, grind it till you find it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Garage door shuts, engines rest. Next episode, man, it'll be the best.